I'll be honest, when I first heard about Green and Gold, I wasn't all that excited to watch it. I figured it'd just be another football movie, and to tell you the truth, I'm not much of a football fan. But I gave it a shot, and I'm glad I did because the football side of it is really just a backdrop to it, a flavor behind a much deeper and more meaningful story. What really got me was how real it all felt, especially when it came to farm life. Most movies, they don't seem to have a clue about what farming actually looks like, but this movie did. The grandmother struggling to bottle feed a calf, only for Jenny to walk in and the calf take the bottle no problem. Well, exactly how it goes sometimes. Or how they're often just seen shoveling manure, or pausing to give the scraggly old barn cat a few little pets before going on back to work. Those moments they hit home because they're authentic. That's what daily life is like on a real farm. Not glamorous, but full of heart and small acts of care. The story centers on Bucky, played by Craig T. Nelson, an aging farmer who's been doing these things the same way his whole life. He's a man who loves his land, his family, and his community. But times have gotten hard. The bills are piling up. The farm is on the edge of foreclosure, and the world around him is changing faster than he can keep up. His granddaughter, Jenny, lives with him and his wife, and through Jenny's eyes we can see both the deep roots of Buck's way of life and the cracks starting to show. She brings a bit of new energy into his world, a reminder that there's still life and hope in the old farm and the old ways. Then there's the banker, the man who holds the loans against Buck's farm. Buck tries to keep this hidden from the family. In a moment on the farm, the banker, half jokingly and half cruel, he tells Buck that if the Green Bay Packers win the Super Bowl, he'd give him another year to pay off his debt. It was a long shot, but Buck holds onto that thread of hope because at this point, that's all he's got left. Meanwhile, we see the toll farming life takes on people. There's a haunting moment when a neighbor comes flying down the road begging for help because her husband has locked himself in a shed ready to take his own life. That scene hits hard. It's raw, real, and far too close to what many families in agricultural face. Farming is full of beauty, but it's also full of isolation, sacrifice, and stress that most folks don't see. Sadly, farmers have one of the highest rates of mental health struggles, and this film doesn't shy away from that reality. That's what makes the later scene with Jenny so powerful. When she comes home, she runs from room to room calling for Buck, and then finally reaches his closed bedroom door. She stops. She pauses. It's that kind of silence that says everything. You can feel her fear, because after what we'd seen earlier, we know that the possibility is real. For a moment, we hold our breath right along with her, not knowing what she'll find on the other side. Thankfully, what follows is a redemption, not tragedy. Buck pulls himself from the brink, and in a beautiful twist of fate, the Packers actually do win the Super Bowl. But the real turning point isn't the football game. It's Jenny. She goes on the local radio station to perform a song, but before she starts singing, she doesn't realize that the mic is live. She begins speaking from the heart about life, about farming, about her grandfather, and what it means to love something enough to sacrifice for it. It's an honest, emotional moment that pours right out of her and ends up reaching the entire community. Later that night, we see one of the most moving scenes in the whole film. A neighbor pulls up quietly to the farm mailbox, slips an envelope inside, and then drives off. And then another car, and then another. Before long, there's a long line of headlights stretching down the dark country road. People giving what they can, helping without expecting thanks or recognition. It's a perfect ending, and it's full of grace and humility and community. The movie's power comes from restraint. Doesn't need loud speeches or big city drama. It lets the little moments speak for themselves. The love between family, the bond with the land, the quiet faith that get people through tough times. Craig T. Nelson gives one of the most believable performances I've seen in years. You can feel every bit of the weight he's carrying, the exhaustion, the pride, and the heartbreak. Madison Lawlor as Jenny brings warmth, sincerity, and together they make the story feel genuine. And I gotta say, I appreciate how the film handled faith. It's there, but it's gentle. You can see it in the actions, the praying here and there, the helping, the forgiveness. But it's not in long monologues. That quiet faith is woven into daily life, and it feels real and lived in. I really enjoyed this movie. It was about faith and family and quiet resilience that keeps people going when the odds are stacked against them. It was about the unspoken acts of kindness that keep small communities alive. Folks showing up in the dark, giving what they can, just because it's the right thing to do. If you ever work the land or know someone who has, this movie will be sure to hit close to home. It's a love letter to farmers, to hard work, and the kind of faith that doesn't need to be shouted or seen. If you haven't watched Green and Gold yet, I'd say it's worth your time. And if you have, I'd love to hear what you thought about it. So that's all I got to say about this movie, so take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.